Oh, hey, ladies and gentlemen, and Moogles of all ages, what's going on? It's the Schwantz27 here, and we're doing another vodcast from this week's Flashback Battle Royale. This week has the dreaded Maduin table. I am going to be joined in the commentary booth by Arusta. Arusta, how are we doing this evening?
I am doing very, very well. Looking forward to seeing this match. This is a vodcast of the runs that were performed last week. Some interesting runs. I know, Schwantz, I believe you were one of the runners who ran the seed. I was not, so I'm going to be seeing this brand new. We also, as well, have shout-outs to Cheech855, who is helping us in the behind the scenes doing the tracking. So let's talk a little bit about these flag sets. What really jumps out at you here, Schwantz?
Well, there are four things that are highlighted in red that makes this a completely miserable experience to undertake. We have, first of all, a huge nerf to stats. 20 to 60% of stats of the normal vanilla stat rolls. So this means that everything, all of your characters are going to catch a huge nerf in terms of the amount of damage they could output, the amount of damage they could take in, and what I think we might see be an influence on some of our runners this seed, the speed of your characters. They are slower than evolution and erosion, so we're going to need to figure out how to speed them up a little bit here. And then the triple threat of the experience, MP, and gold multipliers being reduced from the standard 355 to 244, along with split party experience, meaning the experience is split amongst the party members in battle that are left alive at the end of it. And then the last one is the mirror match 1 times party highest level scaling. So that means that you can never outscale your enemies until you get to level 50. This means that this seed is going to be a chore to get through, because normally we're used to maybe being behind scaling for a couple of battles in the beginning of the seed, and then normally we're ahead of scaling throughout most of the rest of the seed. In this here, we'll see exactly how beefy some of these enemies are and how difficult some of these fights are when they're on the same level as us. You want to go through some of the positive aspects of this seed here, Arusta?
Yeah, so one thing, in case anyone's not familiar, the Blackjack Battle Royale was a draft-style format where runners could, as the previous event was going along, add or subtract different items to the list. So basically, this is a composite based on a bunch of different runners who said, I'd like to add this to the seed, or I'd like to remove this from the seed. Some of the more positive things are the fact that you get, especially the bonus objectives there in the corner, Elite River, learn 8 blitzes. So if you have someone with blitz, that is a very nice thing. You get a few fights on the Elite River and the check, but you also get 8 blitzes, which means an instant bum rush, which is very, very nice. It's one of the best single target attacks in the game. Also defeating dragons, which is something that in a lot of cases you'd want to do anyways, just to get yourself a little extra experience or to more quickly learn magic. Defeating 2 of them gets an experience egg. Defeating 4 gives you 20 magic power for all your characters, which applies after that 20 to 60% stats. So, your stats are initially reduced, but then you just get a nice plus 20. So that can really get you back to where you'd sort of expect to be in terms of magic power usage. What else jumps out at you in terms of things that you find useful in this seed?
Yeah, so for me, it was the 100% random chests, which means we're going to find good stuff in chests. The shops are on the cheaper side of things, 30 to 80%. And we do have rods and shields and super balls in shops, so we'll be on the lookout for those. And with a Sabin, Edgar, and Celeste with Blitz, Tools, and Runic start, for Edgar, we're going to get those half-off shops in the South Figaro Castle or the World of Ruin South Figaro Town. So we're going to try and take advantage of that. As well as a buff to magic, because spells will cost only 25 to 75%. So pair that with your plus 20 magic power that you mentioned for defeating 4 dragons, and that's how you might get through some of this seed in order to catch up on that huge nerf to stats. I'm expecting to see some Super Ball purchases, some rod purchases, maybe fishing around for something like a fixed ice or an Illumina, something that can probably help you out greatly in cutting through the huge nerf to stats that we have. So we'll see what tactics our runners use in order to get ahead here. And speaking of which, let's introduce the runners here. Up in the upper left-hand corner, the purple trim with the white. It's Turdsman. We've got Outlaw Star with that hot pink, looking like a Barbie girl in this Barbie world there. We've got Sigil in the default blue and white. And then we have myself there in the lower right-hand corner. I did Barney colors for this, the purple and green, hoping that the seed would be friendly. We'll see. You guys can make the determination if I jinx myself or not by doing that.
Yeah, we'll see. One other thing to note here is that you see the characters are already pre-listed, because one of the things that comes along with the draft format is you actually know which characters, so people can sort of pre-pick, what do I want to do with my CES start.
Yeah, so we did get natural magic on Edgar. But other than that, we already know what our characters are going to do. So let's see exactly what our runners decide to do. And it looks like most of them are heading towards Narsh. I am going to go check the Figaro throne here. One of the things that I don't know, Arust, if you did mention this or not. I was taking my headphones off to take my sweatshirt off. But all of the free checks will not be a character or an Esper. So we will receive a high tier item from this check. There's some fixed dice in the Narsh shop and an offering there on the Figaro throne. So already we have an S tier build for this particular flag set.
Yes, one nice thing about fixed dice is they do not follow the normal default, strength based or possibly magic power based formulas that we're familiar with. It's pretty much just straight random. So it works very well when you have garbage stats because it sort of ignores your garbage stats. For example, I think I saw a bunch of people had 6 and 8 magic power, or at least 2 of our characters, which is effectively worthless.
Yeah, that is brutal there. So we're going to try and pump them up with maybe some earrings or maybe some Atlas armlets. Here in the relic shop, we do see Sigil looking at running shoes. So remember I mentioned how abysmal the speed of our characters are. We might actually see some people purchase running shoes just to make fights not last forever and ever. So interesting thing on the relic side of things. So we'll see if anybody chooses to do that. It looks like most of the runners are digging in the chests there. As we mentioned, 100% random chests. So that usually means that chests are going to be better more often than not. And it looks like from Turdsman's side of things, both Edgar and Celeste can use that fixed dice. So we already have at least 2 of our characters that can have one of those builds as well.
Absolutely. And one thing to note here, we see in the lower right-hand corner, Schwantz, you are digging through South Figaro in the World of Rune. I believe this is very important since you have that Edgar, because the World of Rune South Figaro gets you that same 50% discount you get in the shops at Figaro Castle. However, World of Balance does not. So if you have Edgar, you really want to go here in the World of Rune, see if you can get a nice discount on those shops.
Yeah, usually when I have an Edgar start, I will go to the Figaro Castle first and then World of Ruin South Figaro to see what stuff can I get for cheap before I go and pay full price. I like myself a good bargain bin, basement hunting, treasure looting as well. But if I can get half off of already really reduced prices in shops, that's where I want to go first. Looks like 2 of our other runners, however, are in the returners hideout here. And they have found Super Balls, so there we go. That is one of the things that we mentioned earlier off the rip of something we do want to see. Super Balls will roll a random amount of damage in multiples of 256 to random amounts of targets. So that is a very easy way to overcome that huge stat nerf.
Absolutely. The one thing to note, though, is they are 14,000 gold, so they are quite expensive to start with here.
Yeah, even at 30 to 80%, we did make an expensive Super Balls flag that basically doubles the price of the normal Super Balls in the normal game. So I believe that gets us somewhere between like 16 and 20,000 on average for a standard seed. With it coming down a little bit to 14,000, it's not surprising. And thank you so much, Arusta, for the 11th month subscription. We hope to be in a couple of marathons or charity marathons coming up soon. I know we have a submission for Multithon, which we're waiting to see. I think the results come in a couple of weeks to see if we do get it. But
Absolutely.
Anyway, any sub money we get on the channel goes towards donations to charity. Anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. And one thing to note here, Schwantz, I see while everybody else continues their looting, you're going to Zen here in the World of Rune, this collapsing house check, as well. Saw you checked the Zen Thief there. That Zen Thief is known as a free check, so it is producing you nothing, but it's going to be a high tier item. 40,000 is maybe a bit expensive for a high tier item, but it is a guaranteed high tier item as well. Since in comparison to other flag sets often you might want to limit the number of free checks or checks without bosses / battles. One of the things here is that since it does scale by party level, taking a bunch of these checks here is not actually scaling enemies in the way it would in, for example, a normal seed. So,
yeah, here you could see how slow those ATB meters are filling up. Oh my goodness. Buying some extra smoke bombs, definitely a good thing to run away from some of these fights here. Just a small correction, to Zen Thief is not considered a free progression check. I guess it's because you have to spend money on it or something, but you can get an Esper out of it. It just won't tell you in the World of Ruin. And there's Dragoon Boots and a Dragon Horn for Turdsman in the same shop. That's where? World of Ruin South Figaro Relic Shop. So we could also do a Boots Horn fixed dice build if we want to go that way, instead of watching the rolling animations for us there.
Yeah, and I believe that does still give you the benefits of jumping the 50% damage boost. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. You will get the damage boost on each roll of the dice. So yeah, this is the third, I think. Oh no, we didn't see what the South Figaro prisoner free check was yet. So this will be our second free check here at the Collapsing House. We'll see what this reward is. And then most of the other runners who are in South Figaro will show us exactly what we're getting in the basement, which will be, again, not a character or Esper, it will be an item. I believe Sigil also spotted some pearl rods there for sale in World of Balance, South Figaro. And that was a Dragon Horn here out of the Collapsing House. So if you didn't want to buy one in the Relic Shop, you can get one for free here.
Absolutely. And Sigil pulling another offering.
Wow. Madalast comically asks in the chat, will a jumping character ever come down at these speeds? Well, we'll certainly find out, shall we? We'll see if any of our runners decide to pull off that particular build. Yeah, I don't know what would be worse here, Arusta. A jumping character with like 10 speed, or having to watch the fixed dice offering rolls.
I feel like it's still got to be the fixed dice offering rolls.
All right. Economizer there in the South Figaro basement for that free check. So now that we've done all of our free checks, I think we're still going to look around maybe for another build. We definitely have some fixed dice offering for at least one of our party members. We'll have to see what one or the other does. So I have a question for you, Arusta. When you have the split party experience enabled, as we do in this particular flag set, do you tend to run with a party of 2 or 3 instead of 4? What is sort of your strategy for something like that? Oh, Ragnarok, hello.
Yeah, so my thought for that is I really want to, one, keep everybody at almost the same level if I can. And then 2, I don't want to get the party too big, because the bigger you make your party, the longer it's going to take. And while we do have the nice combination with it matching your party level highest level, so like, it's not going to be super, you're not going to be super outscaled like you might be if it was scaling based on checks, for example. You do still have a level you need to hit for final Kefka, because those battles are not scaled. So they are still, expecting you to be in the 30s, maybe 40s, depending on your comfort level that you would normally see. So I want to stick with maybe 3-person party with 3 characters I know are good. And I actually kind of like Celis Edgar Sabin here. Blitz, if you find a Terra, is going to be great. You've got Edgar, who can equip some spears if you wanted to go that route and do a jumping. And Celis can equip basically any weapon you want. Your Ragnaroks, your Illuminas, etc. As can Edgar.
All right, here's some ice rods purchased by Schwantz there in the Albrook World of Ruin spot there, where he did pull a Ragnarok out. 10 magic power on that Blitz. Eek. So we're also going to be looking for some gear that will boost our stats up. Our Magus hats, our white dresses. I know that Sabin can wear an enhancer, so that will certainly help out that blitz damage. Pummel will ignore defense, and so will Drill, which is another tool that we have. So those things I think will get some good use. Coliseum dip here for Outlaw Star, and it looks like there's Marvel shoes in the Coliseum, so that's what we're going to go and get. Marvel Shoes is actually a pretty decent relic with this flag set. Remember, it does have that auto haste as well as the auto shell and auto state, so it'll make you take less damage and take more turns. And Edgar is not playing with Coliseum AI here. Just do us a favor and kill the ghost, Edgar. There we go.
Yeah, what would be your party strategy here?
Yeah, so I went with a 2-party strategy because I did, believe it or not, I suffered through 2 or 3 practice runs of this, and with a party of 3, I found that it was still taking too long to get levels. So I decided to cut down to a party of 2, and we'll see whether or not that is a good idea in the long run here, because a party of 2 means that you're going to get more levels at a greater rate because of the split party experience, but that also means you only have 2 characters through most of the game, and that means you're just giving up damage every single time because you're doing 2 instead of 3, and 2 instead of 4 even here, right? So will it make up for it on the back end? That's always the... Do you invest the time now in order to get it back later? That's one of the that's one of the age-old questions here.
Absolutely. And one thing just to point out, Sigil did check in the World of Balance, and it is a glowing stone for about 32,000 gold. So Sigil here almost certainly going to check that here in World of Ruin and get the unfortunate news that it's even more expensive in World of Ruin. So nobody has bought it yet, but we do know it's a glowing stone, an Esper that you'll get at some point.
Yeah, so the thing with this seed is we want to spend our money on those things like the super balls, like the rods right away early on. So if that Esper has some good spells on it, or even better, if it's got a great stat bonus, then maybe we want to buy it right away. But if we go and buy it, I would save out here first and peek it, and if it's not got anything great on it, then maybe save that for later on in the seed. Stat bonuses are going to be huge, because we're going to start all the way at level 3, and even a strength +1 Esper at level 3. If you keep that on a character all the way until 30, they're going to get +27 strength, which will be almost like normal by the end of the seed.
Yeah, I mean, or even more ideally, if you can get like a magic power +2 would be the dream, because that basically, if you put it on one person and just let them hang on to it, by the time you finish a couple fights, you'll be at level 15 to 20, and they'll be close to normal magic power. And then by the time you get to Kefka's tower, they'll be actually at high magic power. So that's the dream if you can find it.
All right, it looks like Turdsman's also in the Coliseum. I did not see what he's trying to pull out of here, but this is a different fight. And yeah, that's a reset because Dread is a instant zombie attack, for those of you familiar with the Kefka script. So it looks like we're going to get to see what this was again.
It was a tonic for ?
Oh, my favorite kind of reward from the Coliseum.
Yeah, because I think Turdsman did not have whatever Outlaw Star turned into Marvel shoes. So Turdsman, once you're already in the menu, you click through and be like, well, roll the dice and hope it's something good.
Yeah, I believe that was Phoenix Downs for Marvel shoes. So I'm hoping Turdsman has some of those, but you never know.
Yeah, or maybe just decided it wasn't worth it.
All right, so we now have some of our other runners doing the things that I did earlier, which is go and see what our high-tier items are. And it looks like I'm following in their footsteps, so we're not really gaining or losing any time here either way by this extensive looting. One of the things with cheap shops also unfortunately means that things won't sell for as much either, right? So normally things like that economizer, or I think I saw a gem box somewhere, will sell for a lot of money. It'll still sell for a decent amount of money, but it's not going to be nearly as good as that. Is Alexander there from Sigil. So we'll see what's on Alexander here. And we're digging in the boxes, and people are going to be disappointed.
Yeah, meanwhile, Turdsman going on a fire sale for 3 Super Balls. Like that play, very good to get started. Because even though enemies scale with you with that one-time scaling, level 3 is just really, really bad.
Yeah, basically any magic attack. A bolt, pearl, meh. I mean, that's an okay Esper there. Not great, but it is still an Esper. And one of the interesting things, as you mentioned, Arusta, is that since it's based on party highest level, it doesn't matter how many characters or Espers we accrue without doing any fights, because the enemies are still going to be the same level no matter what. All right, Sigil taking off the Moogle Charm here. Getting some fights under his belt. I think he's the first runner that's actually taken a fight and not run away from those monster in the boxes here. Meanwhile, Turdsman looks like they are off to go do the Imperial base, the Imperial camp check.
Yeah, that's an interesting check here. I kind of like it because the random battles, so like worst case scenario, you can always smoke bomb / warpstone your way out of them if you just find they're not worth it. Or you could just take them for the experience. So I like this as a good first check here on Turdsman's side.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he bought Super Balls or not. I would have expected anybody who found them.
So Turdsman has 3 Super Balls.
Okay.
But depending on, what the fights are, you may or may not want to spend them on just some regular monsters.
Yeah, and it makes sense because if you go and try and fight, let's say, a dragon right now, for instance, and it's a blue dragon or a white dragon, then you're going to die first turn anyway, right? So you might as well get a few levels underneath you in order to maybe survive once. And there, Turdsman has those running shoes equipped, as I mentioned earlier, with that haste on it, making these battles actually tolerable here. The unfortunate thing is if your crew is wearing running shoes, they're taking up a relic slot, which could be used to otherwise increase your damage output. So you're going to get more turns, but you're going to do less damage per turn. So it's another one of those trade-offs that I mentioned. These enemies are going down pretty fast, but 36 experience, yick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more an issue, I think, for later in the seed. Honestly, right now, I don't even know what other relics Turdsman has outside of that offering, which, great relic, but offering plus running shoes is still pretty good. Later in the seed, maybe you consider whether it's worth having slower turns, but getting an Atlas Armlet to pair with that for extra damage. Who knows? That's something you decide once you have more options.
So it looks like Outlaw Star did also purchase that Esper there, as it looks like Schwantz is getting the news that there are some Super Balls here at Returners, so we're going on a buying spree here of some different Super Balls, and Sigil is following in the footsteps of the Imperial Camp, which turns out to be Zone Seek there. So second Esper, or rather first Esper on the board for Turdsman. It will be the second one for Sigil when he gets out of this here.
Absolutely, and kind of interested to see. Okay, looks like Turdsman is going to do the Phantom Train here. Let's see what we got on it.
Well, we can peek the reward in the back here, and whoa!
HP plus 100%, Flare, and Flare at a high percentage there.
And X Zone too. And we're getting a Kefka's Tower play here for Schwantz. What the hell is he doing? This is a bold strategy here, Cotton.
That is a very bold strategy with 3 characters, so everybody's going one-on-one. You can't even do like an overload and kill a dragon or something.
Well, we have Super Balls, and you get more XP in a party of 1 than you do a party of 3 or a party of 2, right? So maybe this is a, hey, let's go get a lot of XP from some of these early fights here, and we clear out the tower and don't have to come back and beat these bosses later with reduced parties.
Absolutely, and Turdsman picking up a 4th character there. It's Mog, who has the same garbage stats everyone else does, but has lore.
Okay.
Aqua Rake and level 5 Doom, which actually in these flag sets, the level spells are actually fairly good because you can very easily calculate what it is.
Oh, yeah. So the levels that enemies scale to will be plus or minus 1 or 2 in either direction, right? You'll get potentially a level 5 here because your characters are on level 4. So we'll see if he takes advantage of that. Any instant death spells are huge in this particular flag set as well. Just being able to cut through an enemy makes it easy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, as chat pointing out, Turdsman did all of Imperial Camp and got exactly 1 level to go from level 3 to level 4. So gonna fight off, looking to see if they'd find any better battles here, and nope, it's the exact same one.
Yeah, that's gross. These wizards, again, 36 experience points, so... and he also is going with a party of 4 here, which means he's going to get even less XP for these fights now going forward. And, okay, maybe not. Bye, Edgar.
Yeah, I think Turdsman did unequip Edgar, so...
Oh, wow, that was a 2nd Ragnarok there in Kefka's Tower. So 1 in Elbrook, 1 in Kefka's Tower. We've got 2 Ragnaroks, we've got 2 Offerings, we've got Fixed Ice, and we've got a dead Edgar for Turdsman. Pour one out for the Figaro King in the chat.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the interesting things about the play that Schwantz is doing here in the corner, or you, I guess, is that it is, you've got these dragons, but it's also a fairly dense chest location in terms of the amount of chests you can pick up per minute. So you are getting at least some value on that side as well.
Yeah, so 4 shield there, blocking that opening acid rain, and Super Ball, there goes dragon number 1. So now Celeste gets all of that juicy XP. I don't think it's going to be very much, though. 1,200 for a dragon. Eek.
Yeah, because XP as well does scale by level. So the fact that the enemy was only level 3 is still relevant.
All right, so Sigil here running into some of these are some pretty decent enemies here as well, because those flowers are undead, and so is that demon-looking thing in the back. The first boss here of Kefka's Tower at the Inferno spot is a Ultros 1. It always feels bad wasting a Super Ball on an Ultros, but I probably should have just used the Fixed Ice Offering there. But alas, 5,600 damage is pretty good for level 3, and off the octopus goes. So by comparison, you could see Edgar is level 6 already, and Celeste, I think, was level 7, whereas the rest of our runners did a whole check, and they're still at level 4, right? So this is the power of splitting up your party for that experience.
Yeah, that is a very interesting thing. You probably know, when the party level highest, that scales to anybody, not just your active party, just everybody. So Sabin at level 3 is still getting the fight enemies that are level 7, correct?
No, I don't think that's the case. I think it's whatever group you are that's fighting that active battle at the moment. That's a great question, though. I might have to dig into the code and take a look at it. But I believe it's based off of just whatever party is fighting the enemy at that time. It's not based off of the highest that you've recruited overall. It looks like we're doing a little shimmying with some relics here as we're going to take on dragon number 2 here for Schwantz. Turdsman making his way through the Phantom Train. Same with Sigil. Sigil also has a party of 4 here. There's another offering. That's a third one we've seen thus far this seed.
Chat confirming it is only the people who are currently in the party for that current battle. That is very good to know. Thank you very much, chat. Madalast and Nerves.
All right, more Super Balls against Dragon. So that's Dragon number 2 down there for Schwantz. So he now gets his experience egg at 24 minutes into the seed. And we're going to equip that on whomever is taking out these bosses one by one here.
Yeah, and this is something that's worth noting is that the final Kefka and Tears are not scaled, but these final bosses, however, are. So if you go all the way to the statues, you can knock out the statues while they're still level 10, 8, whatever you happen to be.
Was that Goddess? I didn't do Phantom Train, so I have no idea what this boss is.
I think it was.
Turns been reset so fast. Cheech confirming it was Goddess. Oh boy. This is not a boss you would like to see early. I mean, it is level 5, but a level 5 Goddess is still going to hurt.
Yeah, fortunately, Turdsman did save there. Can very easily swap out the party. And I believe Turdsman did have at least 2 Super Balls that I saw in their inventory.
Okay.
So might see a couple resets just fishing for good procs on the Super Bowls, but should be able to get through this if you get some nice rolls.
All right. Meanwhile, it's Dataluma, MC Daddy Pants here for Schwantz. Ate 1 Super Ball and is now going to eat an Ice Rod. He's only got 2 Super Balls left, and there's a bunch more bosses in here. So I think he's trying to save the Super Ball for Sabin, right? Because Sabin still hasn't fought a boss yet.
Yeah. Sabin has not fought a boss yet.
The good thing about the fixed dice offering is that it'll get around this love token, as Sigil just makes quick work there of Goddess. Very nicely done. And Turdsman with a heads-up Zone Seek cast. That will give his entire party Shell, which basically means incoming magic damage is cut by 33%, and it's just barely enough to survive that acid rain to kill that Goddess. Huge heads-up play there for Turdsman.
Also, heads up is getting in the menu and sitting in the menu here because, you know, keep time while doing that. Good weight tricking there.
All right, Outlaw Star getting more levels here at the Opera House Disruption, fighting these rats, doing the Charlie work, as I like to call it, for anybody who loves It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. These are not great fights, though, in terms of XP, but with fixed dice offering, it's not going to really be a challenge, and you're going to need every amount of XP you can get here. Alright, so a little bit of backtracking to make sure that we save after each fight here for Schwantz, but I think he's continuing on through Kefka's Tower, going to take on the rest of it here and see what we could find up towards the top. And here is Narapa for Sigil, and I'm pretty sure we have an air anchor as one of our starting tools, but he's just going to throw some bones at it instead and be done with this fight.
Yeah, Narapa has very, very low HP for a boss, even in her default form. So I would expect this is going to die pretty well. As well, you can see those nice 70 plus counters on the Condemned there because it's based on your speed.
Yeah, it's either, I think it's stamina stat, maybe? Well, it's definitely based somewhat on your levels as well. So we're pretty low level, so that means the counter is going to be pretty high. If you're a higher level, in Kefka's Tower sometimes, for instance, that might be a problem. And Turdsman's party is in desperate need of a heal, so he knows that if we go into this little vector shed here and we fight whatever this is, after this battle, we could talk to the lady, and the lady will heal us up. That's Torado at the bottom of Barren Falls there for Sigil, so he's already at 4 characters and 3 Espers, well ahead of most of the competitors, especially Schwantz there. Still in Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, decent Esper. HP plus 30% isn't bad, and Break can have its uses. Not super great, but better than nothing. At least worth equipping and learning some stuff, getting that bonus.
All right, so Turdsman here checking out the shops in Vector. Remember, the shops are 30 to 80% of vanilla, and there is a Minerva. That would be huge. He already has one of them. I guess he found pugs, maybe? And got them from a pugs fight? Oh, that was the monster in a box in Norsh, wasn't it?
Yeah, pugs were in monster in a box, correct.
Uh-oh. Oh, no, Edgar. What are you doing? We got number 24 here. Thankfully, Edgar didn't have the fixed dice offering, or else this would have been a wrap here for Outlaw Stars Party. And we got the other Opera House from Sigil here, taking on the Dirt Dragon. And it's Niles and Frazier, the Cranes, here at the Guardian spot. And now comes the fixed dice offering for Schwantz, for Edgar there. And there it is. It's another Kefka Tower boss down. 2,600 XP here. So we're already at level 14 for his Edgar.
Yeah, meanwhile, this Dirt Dragon fight, Sigil using the dice and as well holding out for this Pearl, which just shows off just how bad our magic power is, that Pearl is only worth 200 damage.
Yeah, you know it's a struggle boss. And hey, is this even randomized? Here comes Setzer from the Opera House. This is another check that I didn't do. So hey, that's another character I didn't know was in this seed. What does Setzer have? Health. No thanks. Looks like Outlaw Star is going to put the Setzer in the party. So that's yet another fixed dice user. Did we see what the Dirt Dragon dropped us? I missed it.
I didn't. I missed what the Dirt Dragon dropped itself.
It was fixed. Oh, the second fixed dice. Oh, wow. So that's 2 fixed dice offerings, or a fixed dice offering and a fixed dice boots and horn there, as we get Kefka coming down for a little bit of an appetizer there at the top of Kefka's tower. Easily thrown away with that fixed dice offering. Pearl Lance as the free reward from the Colingen in there.
Yeah, and I like pursuing some of these Setzer check, like that free Setzer check, and doing the Colingen checks here for shops, because you know it's going to be a high tier item. You're still at this position where you could use pretty much most high tier items would find use. So I like this. Plus, you get Setzer's other checks here, which are very quick as well.
Oh boy, this is gonna. Oh no, we have fixed dice and offering. Never mind. I was gonna say this Ifrit fight is gonna be a problem here. But Turdsman has Flare, he's got Pummel, and he's got fixed dice. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and take out this... Is this vanilla? Is this another vanilla moment here? We're in Magitech Factory, right?
Yes, yes, I think it is the first one. So this is the first boss in Magitech.
All right, and Schwant's going up against Funbaba here with his level 3 Sabin, but one Super Ball will take it out. So... there's sort of like the demonstration that it's not based on your characters. It's based on whomever is fighting that fight. So nicely done. See you later, Funbaba. And we got one more boss in Kefka's Tower left. And then we actually have to play the game. It's almost like I'm playing this in reverse. Passing the experience egg around as well. Oh no, we have a Shiva sighting.
Absolutely. And the key there with passing the experience egg is you really want your characters to stay somewhere close to the same level, because since it does scale off party highest, once you get your characters all back together, having one character who's way behind the others will make that character pretty useless.
Yeah, yeah. And it's another Ultros. Ultros 3 this time. Unfortunately, we do not have sketch for this. And that was Ragnarok for Turdsman there. Ooh, life 3. That's huge.
Yeah, unfortunately, no bonus on it, but life 3 is very good.
All right.
Pseudo calmness protection if you're desperate.
Oh, for sure. So now Turdsman can breathe a sigh of relief, I guess, in that portion of it. Meanwhile, Sigil is going to go fight his second dragon here for the experience egg. We do have 4 dragons noted on the tracker. That's just because The 4th dragon will give us the plus 20 magic power. It's not required for Kefka in this particular case. I kind of forgot to mention that earlier on. Tersman also pulled an Atma weapon out of the hidden chest in Magitech Factory. I don't think we're going to see that come into play at all, given how slow we're progressing in levels here.
Yeah, Atma weapon is really based on levels and then also physical strength, which we don't have much of. It's just not really ideal for these seeds.
And SR Behemoth here at Mount Colts for Outlaw Star. We'll see what the reward is here. And Schwantz gets through that Ultros fight. So Kefka's tower is done. At 35 minutes, he's ready to step on the switches. No, he's definitely not. I am just kidding.
Meanwhile, Sigil did find a Valiant Knife, which can be equipped by one of his characters. And Valiant Knife, because it does just straight bonus damage for having low HP, that does have use even with our garbage stats here.
Yeah, it'll also ignore defense, which is extremely important too. All right, it looks like we're continuing on to Tri-Talk. We don't have Umaro here, unfortunately, to do the next check, but this one will be probably good enough here. As Tersman takes out his number 128, Outlaw Star takes out SR Behemoth with a dead Setzer. I don't know if that was on purpose or accidental, but either way, he's dead. And oh my goodness, there is Terra. Wow. So Outlaw Star with a huge leg up on the competition here can go to the Leet River and power up Sabin immediately. Sword Tech Terra, but I think the more important thing there, Arusta, is the access to the Leet River check.
Yes, because the bonus objectives do not include the Leet River gets you all 8 blitzes, but the typical Ultros League kind of standard flag settings where you can unlock Doma's Dream for all the sword techs was not one of the bonus objectives. So the very good ones are going to be really far off.
All right, Cheech pointing out that we did get Calmness Protection after all at Magitech 2 with Golem, and Turdsman looks like they're going on their Mode 7 minecart ride here. Let's see what the treasure is down in the Imperial base here. So far, a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, what is this? Can we return?
Honestly, that 10,000 gold might be the most valuable thing there.
Yeah, we did see some Marvel shoes, which like I said, I am a outspoken hater of the Marvel shoes, but in this seed where you need some speed, maybe it's not the worst idea.
See, that would be more valuable, except for the fact that Outlaw Star got like 3 or 4 of them from the Coliseum earlier. So
yes, that is
even
true.
Those aren't useful.
All right, it looks like we are continuing on for the dragons here. So my strategy was, let's get 4 dragons, get my magic power stat up, and then maybe this way I could magic power my way through this seed. So this is dragon number 3 here for Schwantz.
And speaking of magic power, did you see what was on that show? +2 magic power.
Oh, wow.
Some garbage spells, but +2 magic power.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for is the stat bonuses. And it's early enough still for Sigil that he can make real good use of that +2 magic power there. That was at where? Tri-Talk? Yeah, that's a really good find for him. All right, Outlaw Star heading through the Edgar loop of things, and we got a merchant sprite here leading the merry band of thieves, so this will probably be an Esper. With the no free characters and Esper's flag turned on, it means the majority of checks in which you have to fight a boss will not be dead checks. There, I think, are 2 or maybe 3 of them per seed. But the majority of them, the other 41-ish of them, will not be dead.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Sigil starting up this Lone Wolf check. I assume Sigil going to do Lone Wolf into the Mog checks because that makes a lot of sense. Very convenient.
Yeah. So
the nice thing,
the
nice thing with this sort of group, when you have split party experience and you're not necessarily going for 4 characters, is you don't mind just dumping one of your characters in the side party because you weren't going to use them anyways.
Yeah, absolutely true. That makes Kefka at Norsh not as big of a deal here. Lone Wolf, however, is considered a free check, so this will be a choice between two high-tier items. It'll be whatever the Lone Wolf is holding, or the question mark that you don't know until you go grab it. So we'll see which one Sigil chooses here. And he's got the Moogle Charm off as well. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but this is a great fight to find for future experience. So maybe he's going to want to write this one down later in case he needs more levels.
Yep. Meanwhile, on Outlaw's Star side, getting a third Esper, Phoenix. We have not seen what's on it yet, but Phoenix is also kind of a nice Esper to have just in general, because the revival can be useful on occasion.
Frozen chicken at the end of the minecart ride here. It looks like we're just going to be doing flare and fixed dice for Turdsman. That's his play. Imperial camp here for Schwantz. Following a great deal behind the rest of the runners here. That's due to that early Kefka Tower play, so I think he has the level advantage over most of the other runners. Now it's just, can he catch up in terms of progression?
The level advantage, and also long-term, that some of those bosses may not be in Kefka's Tower, won't have to deal with. So, Fun Baba, Schwantz was able to knock out with just one hit, whereas when you come back and he's at level 40 or whatever Fun Baba is at that point, he can get some pretty high experience, or pretty high HP, excuse me.
Yeah, he's just a fat stack of hit points, basically, with some legs stapled to him. That's the running joke there. All right, let's see what the choice is here at Lone Wolf for Sigil. And we're still fighting Tritalk here. There it is. Magus Rod is what Lone Wolf is holding on to. No thanks, we do not want that. Is this more Ice Rods for Schwantz? I think this is. Hey, there's a Ragnarok. Okay.
Meanwhile, Outlaw Star also pulled an Illumina from a random chest.
Oh, nice.
So looks like between the Illumina, a fixed dice offering, and then I think they had a magic build for their third character. I think Outlaw Star is pretty much set in terms of what their characters are going to do, just obviously more experience, more levels.
Yeah, so we have the ideas, or the build ideas. It's now just about getting to your requirements and getting your levels. That is a nice chunk of money there in that pot. And, oh, there's character number 6 for Outlaw Star with Realm. Oh my, look at what's at the end of the Magitech factory. Oh my goodness, it is Doomgaze.
Fortunately, Turdsman passes the math check.
Make sure you give our runners a follow here. They have, well, I don't think all of them agreed. I just basically decided, hey, these 4 runners have pretty cool and interesting routes through this seed. Let's watch them back, and it's going to be a pretty decent race. So let's do that. So make sure you follow them on Twitch, as we got our Dabbing Yeti here along with our Doomgaze, and it's the White Dragon here at the Ancient Castle. So this is a new dragon and a new reward for us here as well.
Fixed dice making very short work of that White Dragon. Meanwhile, Turdsman looks to be having no real issues with Doomgaze, and Sigil just punching through Umaru there.
Yeah, I mean, unlike in normal runs, when Doomgaze dooms somebody, you're just like, whatever. That means more XP for my other people in the party, right? At some point, you're going to want to catch some of these like members of your party up. But the later on in the seed, the more XP you'll actually get. So maybe it's not a bad idea to have them dead here. As Turdsman does get through that was another Esper, it looks like, based on the tracker here.
Yeah, and that dragon for Outlaw Star just gave a useless Aegis shield, so.
Oh no, we got an imp here for Schwantz. I don't think he's going to be able to suplex the train. So seed forfeited. Did we get suplex from Outlaw Star of the train? I must have missed it.
I don't think so.
Palador was the last Esper in Magitech. Thank you very much, Cheech. And there it is, the air anchor for Ghost Train. And the X Zone. So we're 0 for 2 on train suplexes tonight, folks. I am so sorry. At least I had an excuse, kind of. Alright, that was Phoenix there at the end of that. Turdsman grabbing his first dragon of the seed with the Dirt Durgan. And here's a new check for us at Moogle Defense. Not a character for Sigil, so this will probably be an Esper. Outlaw Star taking advantage of the fact that they have Setzer. And they only need Espers, so let's do Search the Skies. Very smart play here from Outlaw Star.
Yeah, unfortunately, Doom is not one of the bosses you were really looking forward to seeing. Kind of an annoying boss, has that a bunch of party-wide attacks as well.
Yeah, we just got to get to Phase 2 here. Phase 2 is the one where... Okay, that's where that Illumina was in the Ancient Castle. Yeah, so Phase 2, he will do just physical counterattacks and Force Field. Whereas in Phase 1, he'll do physical counterattacks and AoE ice spells. And there it is, Phase 2. Sigil fighting these beasts on the way into this boss here. And these guys are actually pretty decent in terms of XP, I believe, as well. So he'll get some nice levels from this fight here, if he chooses to do these over and over again. Is Turdsman going into Kefka's Tower now, too?
Yeah, it looks like Turdsman's going to Kefka's Tower. We'll see if he plays it out the same way Schwantz did, going all the way, or if instead just going to maybe get the second dragon and leave it at that. Outlaw Star picking up Seraphim from
looks
the
like
Search the Skies check.
It looks like I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to bring Realm into the party or not. Running around there like a madman at the top of Ancient Castle. What are you going to do, Schwantz? You're not going to take Realm first. Alright. White Dragon here. Outlaw Star getting an Esper from Search the Skies. And I thought he was going to peek Mobliz, because you can go talk to the girl to see what that reward is.
Might just want the levels from the dragon here. Would also be Outlaw Star's second dragon, so get him that experience egg as well.
Yeah, that is a great idea. Alright, so Sabin has fallen and he can't get up, but that is dragon number 4 there for Schwantz, so that will be plus 20 magic power for his team. And we'll see what he does with it. Alright, Dirt Dragon here for Outlaw Star, so this will give them their other set of fixed dice. Sigil fighting through these forced encounters. Well, they're not forced, they're skippable, but these encounters here in Moogle Defense. I agree with this play to go take these on.
Yeah, especially once you saw the first one and saw that they were good experience.
Alright, is this World of Balance for Turdsman, or is this World of Ruin here? Let's see when he gets outside. This is World of Ruin, based on the cloud covering. I have turned into a Final Fantasy VI meteorologist, apparently. So it looks like he'll do the Dragon and the Tritok Cliff, get that magic power plus 2 Esper at the top, and Dragon number 2 here for that experience egg. Alright, that is the fixed dice there for Outlaw Star and the experience egg. Schwantz coming back up on the other side of the Ancient Castle. So in this flag set, I think it kind of is a bummer for Outlaw Star that he got his character so early. Because your characters will join at your party average level, right? So if you delay getting your characters till later on in the seed, then they'll actually be at higher levels. So Maybe that factored into some of the routing of some of our runners as well.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is that Outlaw Star doesn't have a whole lot of peekable checks. There's Mobliz, there's maybe Auction House here, but otherwise, there's not a whole lot of peekable checks to get Espers here.
All right, so Sigil fighting the Three Stooges. Where the heck is he in this cave?
Sigil is in Moogle defense still.
Oh, that's right.
The Sigil did a lot of basically fought everything they could fight in Moogle defense.
Oh yeah, this is not a great fight for a fixed dice offering party. You would like to target that red stooge on top because they will bring back to life the other ones on the bottom, as well as heal them. So we'll see how Sigil deals with this. As Schwann's picking up there to Zen Thief Esper. And Turdsman taking down that second dragon there, getting that experience egg, throwing it on Sabin. Outlaw Star and Owzer's Mansion, so this will be new 4-1-1 for us here. Hiding in the Hyde Knights at the top here. Also, a kind of a problem for a a party with a fixed dice offering user.
Yeah, and having one of the people revived as a zombie, which is never fun either.
Yeah, thankfully that Edgar's been dead forever, so I don't think it's going to be a problem here. Alright, looks like it's Magitech Factory here for Schwantz, so they will be 3 Espers, I think, are in here. Is that right?
Yes, I believe it is 3 Espers.
Alright, that is Phantom there from Moogle Defense for Sigil. So it took him a while, but his party is at least at level, what, 25 and 20? That's not bad. In this game, in this seed anyway, you're kind of playing the long game. Yeah, you do have to get your 6 characters and 9 Espers, whatever. The hardest part of this seed is getting to enough levels in order to fight the final boss. That's the game within the game, if you will, here, Arista.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the split party experience really does cut down on just how many levels you can get.
Alright, so we'll see where Sigil decides to go now that they've exhausted Mog's checks. And it looks like following Schwantz here into the Magitech Factory. So they are going to have their 9 Espers at the end of this. They just need to find 2 more characters. And we know where they are. One is in Ancient Castle, and one is at Mount Kultz. And where the heck was Setzer? Oh, Opera House. Okay. So there's 3 that are kind of relatively generally available to him right now.
Yeah, and Sigil is kind of running out of checks outside of those that require or give the characters. So Sigil will be getting their 5th character. Pretty much whatever check they pick after this is going to get them a character.
Unfortunately, we are out of MP here for Outlaw Star for Celeste, so we're going to have to find another thing to do. Pivoting to using Drill for Edgar in lieu of that fixed dice offering, because Rexol is a terrible fight for a fixed dice offering party also. Alright, Shoat the Goat at the top there with the magic power +2. Turdsman is probably like, damn, I wish I did this earlier. There's still plenty of time to grab levels. We're only at about 20-ish for most of the players on stream here anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you end up about 30, that's still 14 levels plus 28 magic power is a very nice boost.
Alright. Our bottom runners are stuck in the Magitech Factory for a while here. So they're going to grab their 3 Espers as here's the party of 2 I was talking about earlier with just Edgar and Celeste. Meanwhile, it looks like most of the other runners are running with 3. Tersman doing the thing that everybody does at least once in Worlds Collide. We forget to trigger Lone Wolf. Thankfully, he didn't go all the way up there.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately in these seeds with Lone Wolf being dead, if you went all the way up there, you would just be like, welp, forget whatever's there. I'm just going to do Kefka and Narsh and abandon the top tier item. But when you're this close, it makes sense to walk back.
Oh, for sure. That was a ghost painting there at Owser's Mansion, so that's another Esper for Outlaw Star. And then it's minecart ride time for Schwantz here. Meanwhile, Tersman's going to do the top of Narsh Loop, so he's going to get his choice at Lone Wolf. And then I think this is an Esper at Kefka at Narsh, and then another one at Moogle Defense. So they will also be at 4 and 8 when they're done with this, looking for some characters here. All right, so here comes
Star going to the peekable check at Mobliz makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, they only need Espers, and Mobliz actually is not a terrible check for here because Funbaba will blow away characters that are dead, and that's Locke, so that's another character there for Outlaw Star. Kid, get out of my way. I don't care who you saw kissing who. Stop being a tattletale. So we'll see if he decides to pick up Locke, and that looks like a no. Remember, Narsh Weapon Shop is considered a free check there, so we'd only get a choice between 2 items. So realistically, he only has 2 checks that could reward something. South Figaro Cave, which we cannot peek, although it is a relatively fast check. And then Phoenix Cave, which is a relatively long check, although there is a dragon that you could loop in there. So, makes sense why Outlaw Star is deciding to not get Locke. And it looks like they're going to go for another area. We're going to bark up Setzer's tree, it looks like here.
Yeah, and I like this because as well, it is a peekable check in the tomb. Well, theoretically peekable. You already have to go pretty much the entire way, so...
Yeah, you're already there. You might as well. There is no check skip in this flag set. So doing more checks is not going to make things better for you. So yeah, if you do save a little bit of time by resetting, but yeah, I get what you mean. It's not quite a peekable check in the same way some of the other ones are. Oh, Tersman gets sniped here by the soldier running back and forth. And unfortunately, this isn't a great fight for experience, so we're just going to say nope. Outlaw Star and World of Balance Narsh as well, so they're going to join Tersman at the top with the Dabbing Yeti fight. Golem there for Sigil.
Yes, though it is worth noting that Outlaw Star does not have that Mog, so going here for the Terra check and then Kefka and Narsh, but not going to do Lone Wolf or Moogle Defense.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they have Terra. So this will be new information for us here with Guardian. But wow, look at those rolls of the dice. Well, the first 2 were nice anyway. All right, Frozen Chicken here at the end of the minecart, and Edgar barely holding on, but he's packing some damage here with these dice rolls. So hopefully that'll be enough for Tritok to go away. Fortunately, can't really use the ice rods that Schwantz bought on this boss, and won't be able to on the next one either with Doomgaze.
Yes, and I think with the way Schwantz split up the party earlier and had the experience egg has been floating around, likely to pass the math check. Probably will not have both characters multiple of 5. They're probably at different levels. Yep, there we are.
Yeah, well...
One of them is.
Celeste is level 25, so this is not going to end well here. So we'll see if he actually gets through this, because we do have fixed dice on Edgar. So at least the fixed dice offering user won't die, but Celeste is going to have a little bit of a dirt nap here.
Meanwhile, Turdsman picking up Ramu, their 7th Esper, and going to do the Moogle Defense here, or not.
Part of the problem with having one character, though, against Doomgaze is that he likes to cast Doom every once in a while. Those are a lot of nice rolls. If we can get another set like that, Edgar, then I think we'll be okay. Oh, there's one of those aforementioned rare dead checks, an Atma weapon at the Welk spot. At least Guardian gives a bunch of XP, but that's not really what you want to see. Ooh, clutch miss. Hoo-hoo! I bet he uses the Phoenix down now. Yeah, there it is. Let's pull that out. Alright, meanwhile, Turdsman here. It looks like they're going to do Moogle defense, which makes sense. Oh, and there goes Edgar. Well, at least the Phoenix down was a good idea there. And, oh boy. I think that's going to do it for Celeste. Alright, so now we got to take off the Moogle Charm and get off a multiple of 5 here. Outlaw Star looks like they are going to go unlock their Bum Rush here. This is smart. Bum Rush, even with when you have terrible magic power, Bum Rush ignores defense, and it's super duper powerful. Oh, hey, look at this encounter here. Some Brontours. Oh, boy.
That is not the experience thing you want, though, if you're rolling for 5,000 per roll.
Yeah, this is probably a good fight to take, but you probably want to heal yourself up first. The problem is you get a story heal, right, at the end of the Magitech Factory before the next boss. So most people tell you, hey, don't ever heal at that heal point. And then this is the kind of shenanigans that happens afterwards, is that you don't heal, and then you go into a fight, and you better hope that you roll some good dice, otherwise you're going to also die. Meanwhile, Outlaw Star here on the Leet River. And that's another wipe, oh my god. So Sigil came into Magitech Factory after Schwantz, but looks like he's going to pass him. And also finds the Brontours by having the Moogle Charm off here. Turdsman looks like he also likes the sight of the battles at Moogle Defense. Makes sense. These are pretty good for XP.
Sigil getting better luck on those dice rolls, just rolling straight through those Brontours.
Yeah, these ones on the Leet River are not bad either. These mag rotors.
And of course, now that you've healed up, you don't get the Brontours fight. You get one that you can instant death and then just roll crazy rolls on. Do 20,000 damage.
Yep. Thanks, game. This is the beginning of the downhill descent of my my seed here. Thankfully, we're now off of level 5 for Celeste, so let's do a very quick save and let's fight this Doomgaze. Sigil with those running shoes on, and I believe he's got the fixed ice, not the fixed ice, the Valiant Knife there on Sabin. Although, unfortunately, with a story heal right before this boss, Sabin's now got buckets of HP.
Yeah, Sigil does have Sabin with the Valiant Knife, which is why Sabin's health is so high, because been juicing off that HP plus 100% Esper for basically the entire time to really power up that VK.
You got lots of fixed ice going on the screen here. This is such a joy to watch, isn't it, folks?
It explains a lot as to why we're an hour into the seed and everybody's still a decent ways off of Kefka's tower unlock, FK unlock.
Well, we're close with like numbers in terms of progression, but there you see Sigil's levels 20. He's got 30 at least for Sabin, but in the mid 20s for the other two. We're not there yet. At least he didn't. At least he still has all of Kefka's tower to clear out. And he's still got to find 2 more characters. Meanwhile, Outlaw Star still on the Leet River. We're going to see who the boss is here at the end. So this is the final trek of this River Rapids ride.
Sigil showing us all the regular encounters.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to keep the Moogle Charm off at least for a little bit to figure out where your good encounters are, so that this way, if you don't have the right levels in time, you can come back and grab that. The Landworm is usually a pretty good one. They're 1500 XP, you see, but when you're splitting it 3 ways, it's still not enough for you to gain a level, as Turdsman will grab another Esper there out of the Moogle defense, so they are 1 off of their shiny stone count, looking for characters. Sigil is going to find Terra, I believe, right? Was that Mount Cult?
Yes. Meanwhile, Outlaw Star going to show us what's here on this brand new check. Ooh, another Magicite. And learn 8 blitzes, exactly what Outlaw Star wanted there. Very good.
Yeah, I think the learning of the blitzes is more important than the espers, but it's good that that was an esper there for Outlaw Star, because that's what they need. They don't really need any more characters. They just need 3 more espers, and I don't think we've seen Esper Mountain yet from them. Or maybe we have, and I just don't remember.
I don't think so, but also Outlaw Star apparently has not done the Falls check, which we know is an Esper, so that's good for them as well.
All right. So Schwant's coming out of Barren Falls. Turdsman going into Barren Falls. Outlaw Star outside of Barren Falls. And Sigil's at Mount Cult. So all Sabin checks all the time. It's probably a good time to remind you to give our runners a follow here on their Twitch channels. Normally, the seeds are not as unbearable as these, I promise you. So make sure you give them a follow, and I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Also, if you are new and you're like, wow, I like what I'm watching, I'm not really quite sure how to get started here. If you head on to ff6worldscollide.com, our website, there is a link to a wiki that's got a lot of different guides and resources for you to get started, including something called Moogle's First Seed, where you could play along in a walkthrough style with a member of the community, so you could play the exact seed right alongside them, as well as a link to the Discord, where you can sign up to have a live coaching session or a review of a past gameplay that you submit as well in our mentor program. I think we're also doing signups for Moogle Cup. Is that correct, Arusta?
Yes, the Moogle Cup signups, which is a tournament intended for newer runners where you run a seed and you're in a Discord call with another more experienced runner who can sort of talk you through your options, talk you through, hey, here's, if you get stuck on a boss, here are some of the things you should know, all that. We are running signups for that right now. As well, in the Discord, there is also a channel, the Beginner's House channel has tons of people who are willing, like if you have questions, you are stuck on something, you can post questions there, and people are very good about responding and usually get responses very, very quickly as well.
All right, so we did learn a couple things here. Fenrir is the reward at Esper Mountain. So if Outlaw Star continues on this path towards Esper Mountain, they'll get Fenrir if they haven't gotten it already. Sigil did pick up their Sword Tectera there at Mount Cult. Schwantz is headed there next, so that'll be character number 5 for them. And Turdsman, meanwhile, is going through the Edgar stuff, so they will probably reset when they see a soldier sprite here, which is unfortunate because Realm is down in the bottom of the Ancient Castle, and they may not see it, although I could be wrong, so here we go.
Meanwhile, Turdsman pulling a Mirage Vest, secretly very good armor for late game.
Nothing at the Coliseum from Outlaw Star. It looked like that they were trying to see if they got some more things from the stuff that they got. It looks like Turdsman is not resetting out here. So even though they have 9 Espers, they are still going to go through the Ancient Castle loop. Is this their last check? No, they haven't found Terra yet. Right? And Opera House was also Setzer. So there's a couple of more characters that they can get here.
Yeah, but I sort of understand it because these two Edgar checks sort of tie right together. So I get it.
Yeah, it's a good way to get your third dragon on the board if you want to get that plus 40 or plus 20 rather magic power, and it's a couple of minutes of a commitment, but at least you know that you have this done and you can cross it off your list.
Meanwhile, Sigil going forward into the cave here. I believe, does this count as a free check?
Mm-hmm. So this will not be an Esper or a character at the back of this. This will be a high tier item. And there is Terra for Schwantz. So that is character number 5 for them. So we'll see what he decides to do. And it's insert 2 more characters into his party. So this is an interesting play here after going with a party of 2 all seed. We're now going all the way up to a party of 4. So we'll see how that impacts how his levels are. Because his Edgar and Celeste are looking pretty good. Sabin is at 15, I think, right? And what is Terra at? 20-something? So they're not terrible.
Yeah, but clearly fully equipping them, so clearly intending to use them as part of the party.
Oh, hey, and this is an interesting monster here. The Cactrot has very high physical evade and magic defense, but fixed dice doesn't care about any of that, so it's very easy to take out. Unfortunately, you don't get any XP for that fight. You only get magic points. However, you get a boatload of money, as you just saw. So if we could turn that boatload of money into something, then maybe it's worth continuing on to fight those things for it.
Yeah, but then this other fight, not really what you want here. This is not super great experience either. Not completely garbage, but not great.
All right, so that was either Turdsman's 9th Esper or 10th Esper there at the engine room rather, and it looks like they're gonna go get Realm here, so they will at least be at 5 characters now. Schwantz heading immediately to Returner's hideout. Oh, where are we sleep? We're taking a nap. Look at that. That's something you don't see every day.
Wow, showing off the in-strats. Those are ones you don't see very commonly, yes.
I guess it's slightly longer than a tent. I don't know. But it's free at least. Speaking of free, we're going to see what's at the end of Sealed Gate Cave here momentarily. In Outlaw Stars and World of Ruin, Narsh, they just took down another dragon, it looks like. So that's their third.
Got the Valiant Knife from the dragon there that several of other runners have already found. And I believe this is an Esper as well, so this will get them to 6-8 and only need 1 more.
Well, we know where it's not. It's not in Moblas. And I think for them, right, we haven't seen Daryl's Tomb from anybody. Opera House is an Esper. No, Opera House is Setzer. So where else could it possibly be?
We also haven't seen some of the Zozo Tower from Terra checks either.
That's right. I forgot we had Terra. Alright, so that's Vanilla Sketch Realm there for Turdsman. We'll open up some more checks. I don't think Realm has any characters behind their checks, though. Right? Owser's Mansion was an Esper, and so was Esper Mountain.
Correct.
So he's going to have to either hit Mount Colts to get Terra, or Opera House to get Setzer at this point. Yeah, that was like a 8 or 9 magic power realm, which is normally something you never see. That's like an, oh my god, what happened to realm? But that's that 20% roll for sure.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense to load up on Phoenix Downs there too, because you're probably going to need them.
Oh yeah. You're going to die a lot. Alright, so we got Hiding in the Hide Knights here. Getting a nice Pearl proc from that Illumina. And then we also have learned the Pearl spell as well. So, good, smart game knowledge here from Outlaw Star to know the weaknesses of this boss and take advantage of it. Meanwhile, this is Welk, right, for Sigil, so this will be the dead check Atma weapon, unfortunately for them. But I guess in this seed, it's not really all that bad to get a dead check, because at least you're getting levels, right?
Yeah, and also, I mean, Sigil definitely still needs a few more levels on some of their characters. Sabin is good. The fixed dice is good. I think you'd probably still want maybe a few more levels.
Yeah. In all of that commotion, I also did not even see what the reward was from the Sealed Gate Cave. I know it was not a character or an Esper, but maybe Cheechar Tracker knows. Or did you see it, Arista?
It was a flame shield.
Okay, perfect. So, hey, that's something to throw at the final boss. I'm not mad at shields. Alright, it looks like Turdsman is the third person into Kefka's Tower. Oh no, didn't they go in before? They went in before, didn't they?
Yeah, well, Turdsman went in before and then immediately bailed out. I think they mentioned in chat, since this is a vodcast, they mentioned that the first time they dipped in there, they forgot they only had 4 characters and were going to end up leaving one of their 3 usable characters behind. Because it looks like with the way this party's getting overloaded, the intent here is almost certainly to maybe get the dragon, get the 4th dragon, and then bail.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dataluma is not a great source of XP, but it's yet another boss that we could take down. Meanwhile, double fixed dice and ice rod strats is the plan for Atma weapon at the end of the Elite River. Outlaw Star outside of Esper Mountain, so this will be go mode for them. Although their characters are level 23, 18, and 19. So they're going to need to gain a bunch of different levels here before they're going to be ready for their final Kefka fight.
Yeah, so I think in this position, this might be a case where you just decide, I'm going to go kill a dragon in Kefka's Tower. I'm going to go full right, where you overload the right party and basically run it up the middle and get all 3 bosses, then bail out. Maybe even do the Kefka's Tower walk a couple times just to get extra levels on everybody.
Yeah, there is no Kefka Tower skip in this flag set, so you kind of have to walk the whole tower multiple times there.
Yeah, Tursman getting a extra flame shield there. Certainly okay to see that, because you do need it. You know, it's nice defense as well.
Yeah, just yeet it at the final boss. That's what you can do. Sigil looks like they are taking off the Moogle Charm and going up Zozo Tower. So their levels are much more akin to what we would be seeing normally towards the end of runs, where we're at 32, and 25 is still a little bit low, but he still has all of Kefka's Tower to clear out, whereas some of our other runners like Turnsman now and Schwantz way earlier in the stream decided, I'm going to clear out Kefka's Tower now versus later.
Yeah, meanwhile, we know this from this peekable check is going to be locked, so Schwantz is going to be in go mode very shortly as well. I think Sigil's slightly higher levels that you mentioned here, because Sigil has, throughout pretty much this entire seed, regularly unequipped the Moogle Charm and fought at least one regular normal battle, and pretty much everywhere Sigil is gone, whereas other runners often have not. So, you know, even if it's not the best encounter, all that experience does add up.
Yeah, it's good to take the Moogle Charm off, peek at what the heck it is that you're going to fight here, and then come back to it later. So yeah, we're going to find out what this fight is here. This Funbaba will huff and puff and blow 2 characters away, which actually is not a bad thing here for Schwantz. I'm betting that he's hoping that Terra and Sabin will stick around and that Edgar and Celeste get blown away, because they're the ones that need the levels more than the others. But with Funbaba, the only way you can guarantee it is if you want a character blown away, you have to kill them off before the Baba Breath.
Yeah, meanwhile, Marshall upgrading his security here with some nice Magitech armor. Shouldn't be any issue here for Sigil. Should just roll right through it.
Outlaw Star, meanwhile, getting their go mode there at Esper Mountain, getting their last shiny stone, and now he's contemplating life and what to do. Don't jump. Please don't jump, Outlaw Star. You're fine. There we go. Oh, and hey, look. Just the party that Schwantz wanted, Terra and Sabin, but look at who the boss is here. Are you kidding me? How do you like that?
The Ultros 4 that gives you 0 experience.
Gotta love it. Alright, so what's at the top of this tower here? It is an Esper there for Sigil, so not a character. That is Raiden, though. Alright, so we've got 10 Espers for our runners on the left-hand side of the screen. Although, like we mentioned earlier, Arusta, the numbers almost don't matter. It's what level are you going to go into Kefka's tower at, and that's really the end game here. It's not necessarily the unlock final Kefka first.
Absolutely, and Turdsman showing off the game knowledge there of peaking Esper Mountain, because if it is a character, you will see the character run out after you, like Realm does in the vanilla game. So, since it was just a merchant sprite, knows it's either an Esper or an item, and doesn't need either.
Alright, Sigil's going to ask the little girl, and I believe he's going to take this lock away from her. Sorry, kiddo. We left lock in one of your cases, but the other two, they really needed the lock, so. Outlaw Star
really? Taking a thief away, or excuse me, a treasure hunter away, seems like it's just being good parenting.
Yeah. Alright, so Outlaw Star is into Kefka's tower, I think for real this time. Or maybe not, actually, because he's got his... Yeah. He's got his whole party over there on the one side, so he's going to do, as you mentioned, Arusa, just go right through the middle with your big-time party, and then come back out and redo the tower again. Let's see what Schwantz is doing here. Looks like we're parked outside of World of Ruin Narsh, so I think this is a let's go juice our levels up here somewhere. Meanwhile, level magics there for Turdsman. These will not grant any XP, but they will teach you some spells, so maybe he's looking to learn a spell or two here. And then Sigil getting the bad news that he's not going to get any XP from this fight here.
Yeah, as well, Outlaw Star is also going to get their 4th dragon from the tower here, which is plus 20 magic power to all their characters. So it's the levels plus also a very sizable boost in just overall potency, especially for that Illumina user who can proc Pearl as a high damage Pearl spell as part of their attacks. Or not, walking right past it.
We might see them.
Oh, excuse me. That was was not the real party.
Okay. Pay no attention to what's going on behind the curtains. Turdsman in chat pointing out that he wanted one of those level magics to cast Grand Train on him so that Mog could learn it. Because remember, Mog has lore, and we've got that plus 20 magic power now. Unfortunately, that did not happen. I don't know if level magics can cast Grand Train. I think they can only cast magic spells, as in the magic command, but I'm not quite sure about that. Because there is that whole elemental scaling thing, right? So.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the elemental scaling. I know in the vanilla game, they absolutely do not, because Grand Train is exclusive to the Haydn and Haydn Knights.
Alright, so it looks like the tactic for Schwantz here is to take off the Moogle Charm and walk up to World of Ruin Narsh, taking the fights up here on the way up, and then take, I guess, the other dragon and the Tritok Cliff and hope you have enough levels by the time you get to the top. We'll see what Sigil does now that they have go mode as well.
Yeah, I do like stopping here to see what you can buy, spend your money on. Buy Sigil makes a lot of sense. You can't take it with you, and something like those 4 ice rods very well might be the difference between succeeding or failing at some of the bosses.
Yeah, he's got what? He had 60 something thousand GP. You might as well. There's that digging out that Ragnarok out of that chest, which I got like an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then Tiger Fangs, which are decent stat stick or very nice for selling if you think you need something.
Yeah, definitely a good stat stick for Sabin. As did they do the Elite River check to power up their Blitz user? I don't remember.
I think Sigil did.
Okay. Because I'm seeing Bum Rush on the right-hand side of the screen, just not on the left yet. All right, this will be dragon number 4 here for Outlaw Star, the red dragon inside of Kefka's Tower. All right, Saris Rose checking in. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. It has been a grueling flag set here for our runners. And it looks like Sigil is now ready for Kefka's Tower. Tursbin, meanwhile, getting the bad news that he's got yet another Esper. But again, I don't think it matters. I think we're still looking for levels here. Alright, he's parked outside of Mount Colts, Arusta, and this means he's finally getting his 6th character.
Yeah, and so... But still only like low 20s of levels, and after fighting this boss, maybe 25, 26 at the most. So still going to need some more levels, probably.
So typically, what level do you like to be at around the time you go and face the final boss of the game?
So in like a normal flag set without the experience, or excuse me, the stat penalties, somewhere in the low 30s is usually very common. Top tier runners can maybe even go high 20s. If you go anywhere like high 30s, you are completely set. But that is like normal stats, specifically magic power, which is pretty much the primo stat. So here I would probably say mid 30s before you really take on the tiers would probably be my hope to be. What about you, Schwantz?
Yeah, I usually do get some levels going into Kefka's Tower, so if I'm in at, 33, I think that's my cutoff of my low end. But, in this seed, I have already killed everything in Kefka's Tower, and some of our other runners have dropped in here and there and killed stuff, right? So they're not going to get that XP in the tower like they normally are. So it really depends. But I'm with you. I like to be at least the mid-30s when taking on Final Kefka. Lower than that, the problem becomes your HP total. Meteo does around 15 to 1600 damage if it actually hits. And you don't get to that high of HP without, an HP plus bonus Esper or something like that until you're in the mid 30s for levels. Because you can see Celeste is at 1773, Edgar's at 13 and change, and maybe we'll see a menu here at the save point and see what level he's actually at. Yeah, because Outlaw Star's team is all way under that Meteo damage threshold. And then there's also Goner, which is kind of about the same damage. It's around 1600 at the high end. You can armor your way out of it, I guess, if you have Force Gear, because that will reduce the incoming magic attacks by 33%. So if you have like a Force Shield or a Force Armor or Marvel Shoes, something that casts Shell. So there, you see Edgar's at level 29, right? And he's at 1500 HP. So maybe it's lower 30s. 33 is probably the minimum you can get away with.
Yeah, and the other problem is just, I mean, if you're too low of level, you can even just start running into issues even earlier in the tiers because you don't normally think about the kind of damage that physical damage or magical damage you get on tier 1 or tier 2, but if you have too low of HP, that can actually add up surprisingly quickly. Something like 10 hits.
Yeah, and a correction coming in from the chat. The Force Gear does not help with Meteo because Meteo ignores your magic defense, but something like Goner will depend upon your magic defense, so it will help there. Outlaw Star here, fighting Kefka, coming on down from his lofty peak of the tower to fight us before we actually get to really fight him. So that is the middle lane cleared for Outlaw Star, so they'll need to jump back in the tower and split the party to take the side statues here. I wonder if they're also going to take the Cell Tower Beast spot, and if they're going to take the other dragon too. Sigil, meanwhile, I think this is his first fight inside of Kefka's tower that is not a random encounter with the Moogle Charm. Oh no, I'm sorry. He did get through that first boss already.
Yeah, and an interesting little note there by Outlaw Star. After doing the save, did send someone down the left lane just to sort of see what they're facing there. It makes a lot of sense because if you're considering, hey, would I consider just splitting the party and just rolling with it? You really want to make sure you're not going to walk and have a single character run into like Magimaster or some other hard wall boss like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That it does waste a little bit of time, right? Because it's like maybe 15, 20 seconds to walk down there, but it will definitely save you in the long run, and Ultros is not going to be a problem. Funbaba, however, on the left-hand side might give them issues, so he's going to have to formulate, okay, well, Funbaba is over there on the left-hand side. Let's send my two stronger characters there, and then let's send the weaker one up against Ultros, because Ultros is not going to be a big deal. Tursman finally going to get their 6th character here for unlock. It'll be interesting to see if they have enough levels in order to get up to the big bad here. Meanwhile, we're finally at the top of Nourish for Schwantz here, going up against Hyden and the Hyde Knights, and I think there was a Fire 3 on one of our Espers there, making good use of that magic power plus 20 boost that we've got, and just lighting things on fire here in order to gain some levels. Alright, it looks like for Outlaw Star, they're still concerned with their maximum levels in their party here. So taking off the Moogle Charm, fighting these fights, which normally are not fun, but they will give you some XP at least. Yeah, so in terms of goodies for Final Kefka, we have an air anchor at least to deal with instant death. We have both Fenrir and Golem for most of our runners, and I think there's Phantom as well out on the board somewhere to deal with tier 1. I don't know if we've seen Mute, though. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, Mute is the one I don't think we've seen on an Esper. Edgar does have that natural magic, I believe, or one of the starting characters did. I think it was Edgar. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people have really paid attention to his magic list, so it's possible there is Mute out there, but that would be our only source as far as I know.
Yeah, because we haven't seen Siren, unfortunately, either. Alright, Schwant's back in Kefka's tower now. His Edgar is at level 30, so I think he's... Wow, I forgot. There's nothing in Kefka's tower to fight except the random encounters here. So maybe he needs to get a couple more levels on that Edgar here. So leaving the Moogle Charm off while walking the towers kind of makes sense as well. The problem with this strategy is that while there are save points in Kefka's tower, you have to make sure that one of your parties is standing near one at all times, right? Because you don't want to die to something and lose all of that progress. That could be catastrophic. Sigil, meanwhile, heading up the middle, just took out their Guardian spot there, and will fight Kefka here at the top. Not that Kefka, but this Kefka.
Yep. Meanwhile, Outlaw Star looks like they have one character that's 28, but the rest in low 20s. So Outlaw Star, despite running around and doing a bunch of fights here in the overworld, still going to need some more. Meanwhile, what we're seeing here, it does look like Sigil going to finish up this middle lane here. Schwann's probably needs some. Honestly, Sigil has some mid-30s characters.
Yeah,
So
he's probably fine.
Sigil is probably fine on levels. Looks like everybody else might still need some more levels to get where they need to be.
Yeah, I think I saw 26 here on Terra, which is not the lowest in Schwantz's party. That would be Sabin, but at least we have Locke with Fixed Dice and Offering here. And the good thing about taking levels in Kefka's Tower is your party is already split up. So you're going to get more XP than you would doing sort of what Outlaw Star is doing here, which is just trying to fish for places to grind, right? So the problem is that if your one character gets into trouble, that could be disastrous if you haven't saved in a while. Yeah, so finding some Dueler Fortis fights are pretty good as long as they don't get to do their shenanigans here. And got a pair of goblins here for Schwantz. This could be trouble. Looking, though, at Sigil's side of things, he sent that level 3 or really low-level Mog, I think, at Funbaba here, and is going to use Super Balls basically to pummel them to death.
Yeah, which answers the question we talked about earlier, that the party highest is based on the active battle party, so...
Uh-oh.
That is just bad luck.
Yeah, Funbaba's a beefy boy. We do have... I think I'm the only one at this point that has Funbaba down, right? Because Outlaw Star just ran up the middle and hasn't taken the sides on yet, and neither has Turdsman. But yeah, level 7 Moogle there. So this is a good strategy here from Sigil. Putting on the Thunder Shield, because that's one of the things that Funbaba will do, is he'll hit you off with the Thunder Shields. Or the Thunder Magic. So at least he hopefully won't die this way. But can't block you from stone. And these Fossil Fangs are just... They don't like Sabin very much. Yeah, that's level 23 for Sabin there. So if Schwantz wants to do a party of 4, then Sabin is going to have to come up a little higher, or he's going to have to be okay with saying, well, Bum Rush does a lot more damage than a level 24 character would indicate, right?
Absolutely. And Sigil there getting past the left statue boss, gaining some levels on their Mog, which are probably irrelevant.
Yeah, who cares?
Outlaw Star still running around, looks like doing some shopping and trying to just farm more experience as they go around.
Yeah, trying to figure out where we could fight some good things. Because otherwise you're in panic mode like Schwantz is here. Just walking through Kefka's Tower, trying to grasp at straws, finding anything to fight. Yeah, because these fights don't give XP, so we got to run away from these. Tur's been heading into Kefka's Tower again for like the 7th time, it feels like. Here we go. This is a much better encounter. The Goblin Figolets fight.
Yeah, meanwhile, Outlaw Star buying those 2 Minervas, very good choice. You know, some solid defense. Probably just going to, looks like, run around a little bit in Magitech Factory. Hope they find something good here.
Yeah, they did. They completed Magitech Factory, right, as part of their. I would have to imagine.
Yeah, but I don't. They did, but I don't believe Outlaw Star ever like took off the Moogle charm like Sigil did, and just saw what was what.
Yeah, so a lot of our runners got locked pretty late in the seed. I know for both Sigil and Schwantz, the only two that have them, that was their go mode. So it didn't make sense to go even bother looking at the Curse Shield to see what it is. Although, if you're doing this many random encounters, right, it probably does make sense. There was no ultimate in this seed, however, so there was no reason to go do it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, yeah, it does look like. Oh, did Turdsman pause here?
Yeah, it looks like Turdsman is taking a break, maybe? Let's see. Yep, because my timer is still going here. Let's see if we could unfreeze him a little bit. There we go. There it is. The joys of vodcasting. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Anyways. So as we've been, watching here, so Outlaw Star looks like found some decent experience fights here. Hopefully, get some levels that they're looking for. Sigil continues to push through Kefka's tower and will be the first runner on stream to step on the switches. Sigil is at pretty good levels overall, just setting up their final team here, equipping Espers. Meanwhile, Schwantz at level 27 Terra, probably going to take a few more fights here, get a little more.
Oh, here's a decent one.
Yeah, that's actually a really good fight for your experience here.
I don't know if this is going to work. I think these are instant deathable, but I don't know if you could break them. That's a good question. Let's find the answer to that. Yeah, so it looks like Outlaw Star didn't do Magitech Factory. Okay, so this makes total sense why they're going there now. They need levels, and they need experience. Let's see. Alright, so Hoover cannot be petrified, so break is not going to work. Instant death, however, does.
Got it. And actually, if you need levels here, Outlaw Star, definitely doing a good choice here because you get a lot of, you get the boss battles, which are often high experience. You get the fights. Just a very good choice here.
Yeah, the Chocobo wallpaper is fun, and uh-oh. Yeah, don't want to be front row against that mob. And unfortunately, these guys are not going to give any XP either for Outlaw Star, those magic urns. Sigil is starting Kefka, though. 1:42:10 or so. Do we have a prediction on our final time here? Anybody?
Oh, I'm going to go high. I'm going to go like 18 minutes because I feel like this is going to take forever.
Wow, you are
crazy high, but I just feel like there's going to be something where like it's just going to take a while. Maybe like a couple battles where maybe like a tier or two where they're just like, nope, this isn't it.
See, I think it'll be fine. We've got instant death. We have Golem. I don't know if he has Fenrir, but we definitely have Golem. And we have life 3 to get us out of trouble. So let's go with... I'm not going to go 18. Let's go 11, 12. How's that? That's longer than normal because we are definitely at lower levels than normal.
Yeah, so I guess my 18 minutes would be just over 2 hours. Call it 2:00:30.
Okay. All right, so Schwantz is out of Kefka's tower now. He's had enough. I think I needed either tents or sleeping bags here because I didn't have enough to keep healing myself. Outlaw Star, meanwhile, fighting some dragons, and not the ones that count towards the objectives. These are the annoying ones that sneeze you away.
Yep, so you want to talk a little bit about Tier 1 here and what Sigil's trying to do?
Yeah, sure, we should probably do that, huh? So there's 3 parts to Tier 1. We have instant death, that long arm already. So long arm susceptible to instant death, weak against wind as well. The face there is weak to fire, and will death counter with Quake if it's the last thing alive. So that's why we see Sigil trying to focus in on making sure we kill that. Now, part of the problem with this offense is, with Fixed Dice and Offering, you can't target which parts of the boss get the damage. So he's going to scale back on that usage of Edgar here until the face is down, which now it is. And now he's going to go ahead and start using the Fixed Dice on that balled up fist, which will counterattack basically anytime you hit it. And this tier basically does physical attacks most of the time. So this is like the armor check of Final Kefka. This is where, as you sort of mentioned, the HP totals are not just for later on in the fight, it's also for this part of the fight as well.
Absolutely, and moving on to Tier 2 here, which has, I believe, 4 parts. So what we've got is the tiger face on the bottom right is vulnerable to ice and does all sorts of annoying stuff like freezing, zombieing, etc. That's usually one of the first you target. You've got the flexing blue guy who does most physical attacks. You've got the girl in the center who is vulnerable to instant death, which is why you see Raiden coming out here. And then you've got the Magic, who is the guy pointing to the left. See Sigil sort of scanning through their menu there. Usually you want to mute Magic because it casts some damaging spells, but it also casts just a lot of annoying spells that just waste a ton of time. So Magic, if you can mute it, you always want to do that. If not, you generally want to kill it kind of soon because it just wastes time.
Yeah, plus on top of that, we want to instant death tools so that Edgar's Fixed Dice damage doesn't get wasted on something that we could just instant death anyway, right? So we're trying to make sure that we kill tools, and it looks like Celeste has also got Fixed Dice Offering. Some big rolls here. One thing that Tiger does that we need to watch out for is the Doom Tusk. So that will turn one of your characters into a zombie. And with 2 Fixed Dice Offering users out of the 3 party members here, that is a recipe for disaster. And I probably just jinxed it.
Also, the Valiant Knife user, because I believe the zombie 0 life counts as all sorts of boost to that Valiant Knife.
Oh, that is true. So let's hope that zombie does not happen here. Meanwhile, Turd's been taking out the top statue here. So they are going to be rushing towards their final Kefka fight as well. Outlaw Star, meanwhile, is going to take the minecart ride here. Makes sense. You still need levels, and these are a lot of, forced encounters here with 2 bosses. Yeah, if we had Reflect, that mute might have been nice, but alas, we do not. Alright, Sigil chopping through this second tier here. Magic does have the most amount of HP of all of the parts here, so usually they stick around until the end anyway, even when you don't have mute. And unfortunately, down goes Celeste here. We have 32 Phoenix Downs. That is a lot.
Yeah, and one other thing that's slightly relevant is that if you saw when they're looking at the revival screen, how some of the... Oof.
Oh, tier 2.
I was going to say they also had Seizure on their characters, which if you don't cure it when you get to Kefka, and Kefka does fall in 1, Seizure instantly kills you because you take damage from the tick before you can actually heal up.
Yeah, that is real rough. Alright, so it looks like they're going to try this, dust themselves off and try again. So this is where a ribbon would come in nice. And this is, well, no, speaking of muddle. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Okay. Locke actually hit himself with that Valiant Knife and then killed the goblin. Oh, boy. That was another close call there, too. Can we just take the Valiant Knives off, everybody, please? Can we just stop with that?
Yeah, did get that all that experience on the Terra, which is kind of what looked like Schwantz was going for, so ended up working out.
Yeah, that's exactly how I drew it up there. Tersman is heading back into Kefka's tower. I believe they just have the 2 side statues to fight now. Yeah, so the funny thing, Cheech, is how targeting works. When you're a zombie, if you kill yourself, if you hit yourself, you will then immediately target the enemies with whatever you hit. So the fact that Locke targeted himself first knocked him out of that confused or muddled state, and then now that you're out of the muddled state, you will attack the quote-unquote correct targets, which is the the enemies there, as that mantis shows you that it's not going to play around. It'll bop you. That's a great fight for XP, but if you don't have the physical body armor to survive it, that's what'll happen to you. End of the minecart ride here for Outlaw Star, approaching very, very soon here. And we'll check their levels if they head to the save point. Oh, they're not going to head to the save point. Okay, well, let's hope they pass their math test here, Arista.
Yeah, I would expect, since I think Outlaw Star has at least one of the people with an experience egg, it seems likely that you won't have everybody the same level. But you do need at least 2 people to survive, ideally, so you can resurrect the third, rather than level 5 Doom gets you down to 1, and then he instantly decides to Doom you and get you out. Oh, and they look like they will pass, because it is 28s and 34s.
Nice. Very nice. Because that would be a backbreaker at this point, to have to go all the way back there. Meanwhile, Sigil, round 2, Electric Boogaloo here with Final Kefka. Yeah, with having just not targetable offense at all, this is very risky here. So we're going to try and kill down the head first, and then deal with the rest of it later. Schwantz still taking the Moogle Charm off here. I think his Terra's at level like 33, so it probably is good enough, but...
Yeah, I understand wanting a little more. The other thing to note here, you mentioned, you see Sigil doing life 3 strats. The other thing you can do, if you happen to have it, is float works as well, because the counter that you worry about with that top head is Quake. So if you manage to cast float on everybody, which you can do with 1 cast if you happen to have it, that solves the problem right then and there.
Yep, so that sky-based casting stop means that we are done trying to level Terra at this point. That's the executive decision that I made there. It's like the game is telling me stop, so I stopped. Outlaw
Game's
Star,
telling you you're good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Outlaw Star looks like 29 and 34. You said, right, on their characters. Yeah. So they still have
29, 34.
They got to beat Funbaba in the left lane, and they have to beat that other one in the right lane. And oh no, there's the Quake. Oh, life 3 though. Wow. No. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's just bad luck there. Oof. Alright, well. My 11 minutes and 12 seconds is not looking so good anymore, huh?
No, it is not. This is not how I wanted to be correct. I was just figuring like it would take a while, not that we'd be seeing multiple wipes, unfortunately.
Yeah. And here's some more fossil fangs. just beating up on poor Schwantz's party again. Meanwhile,
Also, welcome to our Raiders, one of our admins and one of the dogs of the community, Drinks Glue. Welcome, everybody. Hope you are doing well.
All right, Turdsman, I think this is his last boss here with Ultros 3 on the right-hand side before heading up to his final fight as well. Moogle Charm's still off for Schwantz. I think Saban's at 25 now. So we're getting up there. Slowly but surely. I'm not sure that this is worth the 25 minutes or however long it's been to gain just a few levels on his party, but alas, here we are.
Meanwhile, Sigil's bad luck just continues here with Raiden missing. Does get the X zone, which is a good start at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we started with an air anchor, although if you wanted Super Balls, an air anchor sells for a decent amount of money. So I could see why you would want to sell the air anchor for the Super Ball. Coming back to bite him a little bit now, unfortunately. Blue Durgan there for Outlaw Star, so this will be Dragon number 5 for them. So I don't think there were, if there were half-price Super Balls, then we didn't see them here. I think they must have been in World of Ruin Figaro Castle, because I know I went anyway to World of Balance Figaro Castle and World of Ruin South Figaro as my first 2 stops, and I did not see the Super Balls there. I think they were in Returner's Hideout, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and Chad is reporting half-price Super Balls were in World of Ruin Figaro Castle.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, by the time you get Figaro Castle unearthed, though, you don't really need the Super Balls anymore. Because you've already defeated that first boss down there. Even if that's your first check, right? It's one of those weird things where that shop is nice that it's half off, but also you have to get through a check in order to actually check it.
Yeah, though if you're doing that early, I mean, I would definitely still at least check the shops. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But you are, like you said, probably past the point where you really want Super Balls.
They're only really effective after, or they're only effective, I guess, level 15 and below. But I guess for this seed, we were below level 15 for a very long time.
Yeah. All right, Sigil, back to phase 2 again, or tier 2 again. Hopefully this time will go a little better.
Turisman, meanwhile, taking out their Funbaba here, and it looks like they have Merton. So they learned that spell from an Esper somewhere. Healing themselves and hurting the boss, that is the best way to go about it. So this won't be a problem. It just might take a little bit, because as you mentioned, Arusta, Funbaba is just a bucket of HP. Edgar's at level 30 here for Schwantz, so getting a few more levels under their belt.
Okay, chat also reporting that full price Super Balls were also available in Colon Gin.
Yeah, they were in a few different spots, I think, in this seed here. So, if you would like to check out the recap, as I accidentally clicked on something else. If you want to check out the recap I did for this week, kind of talked about the different strategies that were involved in the flag set, make sure to head on over to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/FF6 Worlds Collide. If you're watching this on YouTube, hi from the past. We're here watching our runners duke it out. And unfortunately for Sigil, we have a frozen Celeste, but hopefully this is a dead tiger. Yeah, so Tiger is dead. So thankfully, the danger of zombie. Oh no, maybe Tiger's not dead here. Never mind. I forget I said anything. Out comes Mantra, which will cure that poison status, but unfortunately will not unfreeze you. You need a fire spell to do that.
Oh, and then the imp. That's just getting all the bad status effects here.
Yep, thanks, Magic. That's what Magic does. Outlaw Star, meanwhile, taking on their Funbaba, so this is their second to last fight before the final boss. It looks like Turdsman is ready to go here. Just got to rearrange the party a little bit. Taking advantage of that bum rush on Sabin. Ooh, out comes the zombie. Oh no. Don't you dare, Edgar. Oh my gosh. Edgar giving me a heart attack here. Oh no, Sabin. Oh my god. You've got to be kidding me.
And with Celeste stopped,
God.
this is just
Yep, that's that. Oh man. You hate to see it happen. Alright, so this will be Sigil's what, fourth try now? I have never seen I mean, part of it is when you have fixed dice offering and Valiant Knife offering, you can't choose who you want to target in your fight. But some of this is just horrifically bad luck. When you get Tiger underneath a certain HP threshold, he will start using zombie. As we have Turdsman and Sigil basically on the switches at the same time here. Ignore those. Ignore those three other attempts.
Yeah, it is wild that Sigil. I mean, that the first stepping on the switches was almost 20 minutes ago, and we're still Sigil's still at it. Turdsman is stepping on the switches for the first time, and then Schwantz and Outlaw Star are still working on their levels. This is just how problematic the low levels can be at the end of the seed here.
All right, well, Outlaw Star does have to get past the Sultros 3. Schwantz dove into Kefka's tower at the very beginning of the seed, so they won't have any bosses to fight. They just have to walk around, do a little hokey pokey, and then they'll be ready for the switches as well. So Sigil up to bat first here with their party. Turdsman looks like they have a slightly different party. We don't see an Edgar here. We see a Mog instead. I think Mog was juicing on some of those spells, and we got Sabin here with something that he could use in the front row. Probably Valiant Knife offering at this point. Because I think that's what Sigil was using, Valiant Knife offering for Sabin as well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that is Ultras 3 down for Outlaw Star, so they will be ready to fight Kefka momentarily here. So it looks like it's a race between left-hand side and then another secondary race between right-hand side here.
Yeah, and I mean, left-hand side's only going to have maybe a 3-minute head start on the tiers, which, given all the randomness involved here with offerings, with fixed dice, with whether or not you get more Tiger pain, feels like this could really be anybody's race here, even with that 3-minute head start.
All right, so that switches for Outlaw Star here. And looks like we're using haste for Turdsman. So normally I would say, why are you wasting your time with a haste cast? But with the pathetic glacial speeds that our runners' characters had at the start, it totally makes sense. And yeah, Turdsman's got Merton online, so his fight should actually go a bit faster than Sigil's, because Sigil is depending a lot on those dice rolls, which are heavily rather RNG dependent here.
Yeah, Sigil actually, or excuse me, Turdsman is also in chat here and reports that Mog has 55 magic due to juicing on that magic power +2 Esper for so long, which is, even by normal standards, would be a very good endgame stat.
All right, Outlaw Star here stepping up to Final Kefka as well. They've got Bum Rush, it looks like, for Sabin, and then some fixed dice offering for one of Edgar Celeste, and then probably the Illumina on the other. That's sort of how my party was as well, except I had Terra using spells because I wanted to bring her into the fold. So we're going to see that here. All right, so Terra's been just down to that balled up fist here now. X-Zone cast coming out from Outlaw Star does connect with that longer arm. Looks like we got Air Anchor cast out of Schwantz on that long arm, so instant death on the table for both of them. And it's just Merton for Turdsman here, who, in spite of the fact that Mog's HP is not that high, if he keeps getting healed every turn, it's going to be tough for him to die. And it looks like he's our first runner onto Tier 2. So we have seen, Arusta, what Tier 2 can do to our runners. We'll see how Turdsman deals with it this time around.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's very much working in Turdsman's favor here is Merton just does damage to Tiger. I mean, it's not controllable damage, but unlike the dice or unlike the offerings, you know you're going to damage Tiger. And Tiger doesn't have that much HP, so... Oh, as well has Ice 3, which Tiger is weak against.
Yep, Mog looks like he's chanting a seance here. That's how slow it is to cast spells. At least he's got the running shoes on. I see a couple of our cast members here. We got Edgar for Schwantz with the running shoes. We've got Turdsman who casted haste on his Sabin as well. Oh my gosh, Sabin hitting the deck again for Schwantz. Taking good usage of that life 3 there. Sigil back on Tier 2 for, let's just call it the first time.
The first real attempt. Those last ones were just practice.
Yeah. So we have instant death in the form of X-Zone here for our runners. Let's see. Tools goes down for Turdsman. Tools goes down for Sigil. Out comes the N cross, and thankfully we've got a 0 out of 3 for that one here. We just got balled up fist here for Outlaw Star, and Schwantz also heading up to tier number 2 at exactly the same time here. Still anybody's race.
Absolutely, and looks like Turdsman might either it has killed the Tiger or is about to, just from that amount of damage done. Oh, and we're seeing that Dispel spam.
Yeah, it's starting. So that means that magic is getting down to the end. Sabin at a paltry 44 HP, but that's definitely helpful for that Valiant Knife. And the Merton will heal up Mog, but Sabin is teetering on the edge here with the poison.
Yeah, and you really don't want to accidentally move on to the next tier with Sabin dead.
Couple of air anchors there for our right-hand runners, so that'll take care of tools. And it looks like Ice Rods is going to be the plan of the day here for Schwantz. Meanwhile, Ice 3 for Outlaw Star, you mentioned. Tiger's weakness there. Sigil with the fixed dice offering. Let's get some rolls, please, for Sigil. Alright, here comes 10 hits, which is the death counter of hit for Turdsman. So we are almost there. That's at least 2 of the 4 members dead for him. Alright, we got a Frozen Celeste, unfortunately, for Outlaw Star there. There's that Ice Rod taking out Tiger there for Schwantz, so he's got only 2 of that 4 left. Looks like Turdsman here coming in with the Dispels. 10 hits out from Sigil's hit here. Oh boy, Celeste is real low. Does survive it here, and Turdsman taking the lead onto tier number 3. So what does tier 3 have in store for us here?
All right, so they're basically 2 parts. The part on the left is the one that you have to kill first, because it can cast Pearl Wind, which is healing. It can revive the other part. It is also, it looks like the girl with the holding a halo or something in her hand. And she is also immune to absorbs every single element. So with this party, with all the physical damage, that's what you're going to rely on. And then the one in the front casts some annoying spells when they get below 10,000, most notably Meteo and Train, which Train is basically all the status ailments that are a pain in the butt. And then there's Calmness. When the one in the front dies, 1 to 2 people get an instant death, can be blocked with Golem or Fenrir, which I think all of our runners have that.
All right, so here comes some quarters. Oh no, a triple quarter there from Sigil. Let's see if this means he's heading on to tier 3, but if he does, he's going to be at very low HP. Oh, he's going for it. Wow. Oh no, Tiger is still alive. Oh geez. Yeah, let's kill Tiger, please. Schwantz, meanwhile, casting Fenrir right before taking down Hit here. With Golem and Fenrir, it makes perfect sense. This will dodge your 10 hits. Tursman, meanwhile, just taking usage of that 18 HP Sabin with that Valiant Knife. A Sigil does make it onto tier 3, but at what cost? Triple-digit HP for his party. We got double-digit HP for Turdsman with a condemned counter over Sabin. I don't like this at all. This is stressful. Flare coming out for Magic on Edgar there, and oh boy, he's barely hanging on as well.
Yeah, Turdsman going for the Flare cast there to hopefully kill off the girl there.
Alright, so out comes Mantra for Sabin. So this will heal the party for the amount of HP that Sabin has. It'll also clear status ailments. Unfortunately, it doesn't clear them from Sabin himself, which was desperately needed there. Sabin going down for Turdsman, meanwhile, up top. Will he decide to revive Sabin or not with Realm? Because we do have a Golem there set up for Turdsman.
I feel like you have to revive. Sabin was doing huge amounts of damage.
Yeah, he's your fixed dice offering user. So, oh boy. W-Wind, triple connect there on Turdsman. He's got to recover out of this healing hole here first. Sigil, I think that's Girl Dead for Sigil. Outlaw Star onto tier 3. Same with Schwantz here. Looks like he's got Golem queued up for this tier as well. So out comes the Golem here for Schwantz. Another W-Wind opener, and oh, it's a multi-kill. Well, not even kill them, but a quad W-Wind there.
Oh, that is just not what you want to see.
No. Brutal. Alright, so there's the Golem summon for Mog there.
Yeah, meanwhile, Outlaw Star getting some really nice rolls with that fixed dice. Well, until I said something.
You had to say something, didn't you? Alright, out here comes Train for Schwantz. So remember when I talked about Mantra clearing status ailments? It looks like we're going full send here. Here comes Bum Rush. Oh, and oh my goodness! Coming back from the back of the pack. That is a double calmness there, blocked. And Schwantz is the first one onto tier 4 somehow. I guess that's what that extra character will do for you, right? Whereas most of our runners are rocking with 3. He's got the 4th.
Yeah, and I have to think Turdsman's got to be pretty close too, just based on the amount of damage that they've been doing on their end. Outlaw Star, seeing that Meteo Outlaw Star is also less than 10k. This dice roll should hopefully be the end of it.
All right, Mog going down for Turdsman, but that doesn't matter because that is his 4th. Sigil, meanwhile, is Mog 1 HP and a dream squeaking by on tier 3 there to head up to tier number 4. So Schwantz is first, Sigil in second, leapfrogging over Turdsman, who is just having all sorts of trouble here with this this final Kefka tier, but this should do it here with this Valiant Knife roll. And away we go. Oh, we got a Palador open cast to get around Fallen One here from Schwantz. He must not have a lot of healing. That is a very smart play. Unfortunately, how slow is this going to be with his character still up in the air? We're waiting, guys. Come on down. Oh, and this is why Palador is not a good idea sometimes. There's the havoc wing on Edgar. Outlaw Star here, starting the final fight. Sigil throwing out that fixed dice there at Kefka as well. Here comes the rest of Schwantz's team coming down from that Palador Sonic Dive. Getting the procs with that Illumina. Uh-oh, but here comes the Havoc Wing. Thankfully, that Fenrir steal from Tier 2 up in order to make that miss. Bum Rush coming in from Outlaw Star doing quad 9s there. Here comes some dice rolls, so we're going to rely on the dice. We're going to rely on the Bum Rush here. Turdsman with the Valiant Knife offering for Sabin. So even though Sabin's blind, Fallen One coming out. That offering will get around the blind status. Here comes Goner for the bottom runners here, the charge up, and these dice rolls from Edgar have got to be good, and it does not look like they are in order to get by the Goner. Sigil! Oh my goodness, He went for it. He just full sended with 1, 1, 1, and 26. He was not going to survive that Goner unless he had life 3. He is your winner with a time officially of 114. Wow, that would be ridiculous. 214.47. As Turdsman taking advantage of the Fallen One here on Sabin. Out comes the Hyperdrive. Unfortunately, it hits Sabin. We got life 3 bringing one of the two characters back for Schwantz there. Outlaw Star, meanwhile, rolling with the fixed dice, and that is a great roll there. So hopefully this will do it for them.
Turdsman as well had a character die, but come back with life 3. So Turdsman, I think, once they get off this Valiant Knife hit by Sabin, should be able to finish off the Beyond Chaos part of the phase here. Oh, or not. Oof.
Outlaw Star, meanwhile, 215.47 with their finish of final Kefka there. And it's just up to Turdsman and Schwantz, the purple people eaters, if you will. Out comes Goner, Sabin goes down, and here comes another second Goner charge for Schwantz. He's got to make this one count here, as that 2,900 damage there from the Illumina coming out. We got Bum Rush as well for Sabin. Terra Chant and a Paragraph in order to get off Fire 3, but that Bum Rush should just about do it there. And there it is, the boom, 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 the flash, the crack, the pow. That is a 216.33 officially for Schwantz there. And I think Turdsman will be finishing up momentarily. So even though Turdsman's time is actually before mine, I think part of it was that little break we had, the pause for the timer for the bathroom break. So we will probably see this Valiant Knife offering do it here.
Yeah, Turdsman's, there we go. Final Kefka.
Yeah, 216.22 final time for Turdsman there. So it was a long and winding road to get here, and we had a couple of different ways through the seed. But we are all within like a minute and a half of one another at the end. Pretty wild, huh?
Absolutely, and huge props to Sigil there for fighting through it after those first 3 practice runs. We'll call them on Final Kefka on that tier 2.
Yeah, so now our runners can finally sleep well at night because they will not have to do this flag set ever again. No chance I am not doing another one of those. You could forget that idea.
At least for 5 more years until we do the 10 years of Worlds Collide.
Oh man. So, if you give me 1 second here, I will pull up what we're going to be doing next, and that is, boom, the Coliseum 2, Edgar's Chainsaw. That is next up on our list here. So I am very much looking forward to that after dealing with whatever we just saw on the screen. So for Edgar's Chainsaw, a little bit of backstory here. The Coliseum 2 was a event that took place, and we had 14, yes, that is 14 different flag sets for the event, one for each character, and they were each based on a character's theme. Obviously, with 14 flag sets, we couldn't use every single one of them during the event. So this means that we, for the Flashback Battle Royale, decided that we would like to use a seed or a flag set that was not actually used during the original tournament, and Edgar's Chainsaw was one of them. So let's go over this a little bit here quickly. Do you remember the Coliseum 2 event, Arusta? Was this one where you had joined?
Oh, I very much remember it. It was a very fun flag set, or very fun event, because the thing is, each of the flag sets had like a weak theme, and it was based on the characters, sort of the character as they were in vanilla. So you start with that character, in this case Edgar, they get their vanilla command, tools, and then some of the other flags were just changed around to sort of thematically match the character. So in this case, Edgar's has shops 100% random, all items costing 2,000, but then sell price, which sort of emphasizes just his benefit with the reduced sale price, or his 50% discount in Figaro Castle and World of Ruin South Figaro, because really it means that money in shops are much more relevant there. So as well, the objectives with increasing his vigor and magic power, because Edgar is a nice balanced character, winning, and then more stat increases to really just tie in with Edgar, and as well, like all the other flag sets, which are still available on the website as well. If you want to generate your own seed, everybody's got their own. So Tara's got one focused around magic, Tara and Celis do, etc. So very fun event. What are your thoughts on Coliseum 2?
Yeah, I love the Coliseum 2. I love the thematic play on the different flags that we had to take a look at during that one. For all of the Coliseum 2 events, you had a automatic sort of stat boost or stat nerf in some cases, depending upon character. You had a reward for winning a Coliseum match, because obviously it was a Coliseum event, right? And Kefka Tower Skip was at 12 bosses instead of, finding an overload on characters or espers or checks. So what this means is that it's going to emphasize checks that have bosses at the end of them, because you can get a reward for defeating more bosses versus doing checks that don't, like Imperial Camp, or in our case, since we start with Tools Edgar yet again this week, the Ancient Castle, right? The Ancient Castle doesn't have a boss. So are you incentivized to go down there or not, right? Because you're not going to get a boss towards your skip. And one of the other things we might see is we might see runners go into Kefka's Tower with 9 bosses, kill the 3 bosses from, sort of the one lane at the Inferno spot, the Guardian spot, and the Poltergeist spot, and then warp back into Kefka's Tower at the skip, because now they have 12 bosses. So it'll be interesting to see if we see any of that sort of strategy going on. But I definitely think it affects routing a little bit for sure.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, the Edgar's Chainsaw is one of the flag sets that didn't get a lot of play in the original Coliseum 2, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in this week of the Flashback Battle Royale.
Yeah, we do. The scaling is a little bit harder than we're used to. It's 2.5 for your scaling, and the maximum is at 50. So those bosses in Kefka's Tower are going to be very tough. And the barter shops also make it for a very interesting seed. I feel like looting is sort of more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like more favored than shopping, I think, in Worlds Collide a lot of times, because with a chest, right, there is that dopamine hit of, oh, I don't know what's in this chest, let's open it and get it for free. Whereas shops, you kind of know what you're looking for when you walk into a certain shop. But with a barter seed, everything costs basically 4 items. So the looting part of the seed is less for trying to figure out what your build is. It's more of, let's gain stuff so that I could trade it in the shop for something really good. Cheat says incentivized. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. I think looting is more incentivized, I guess, because it's a nice rush of dopamine to pop open that chest, right? So I really like barter seeds because it puts the emphasis on shopping more than going out of your way and getting chests.
Yeah, as Turdsman correctly points out in chat, the thing with looting and chainsaw or this sort of barter seed is that, you know, even if it's the most worthless item imaginable, it's still basically 1/4 of a useful item.
Yeah, so this will be a really interesting flag set to see, you know, exactly how runners approach it. It'll depend upon what our other 2 characters are. So this will be fun. I'm really looking forward to this week. It'll be a nice palate cleanse from this shenanigans, and then I think week 6 will be Zozo flag set. So we're gonna have to set the Zozo clock this week if we want to get all of the tools in a high tier item, and then next week, the one after that, week 6, looking ahead a little bit, which is this flag set here. You have to actually set the Zozo clock to unlock Kefka. If you have no idea how to set the randomized Zozo clock, I did a wonderful tutorial on our YouTube channel, patting myself on the back here a little bit. There's also a picture version of it in our Discord or on our website in the wiki section. If you don't like watching videos and would rather just read, I could totally understand that. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much about it. So wanted to give a huge shout out to Cheech for doing the tracking tonight. So thank you so much, Cheech, for doing that. Tracking 4 players is very difficult. Tracking 4 players that are doing wildly different things is even more difficult, so I really appreciate that. And Roosta, thank you as well for doing commentary with me. I know that this was a very long seed and it was kind of a slog, so I appreciate you sticking here with me to do it. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and thank you very much to everyone for watching and for commenting in chat. Really appreciate it. For our future YouTube viewers, we appreciate you guys as well. Have a great night, everyone.
All right, peace out, everybody. Catch you later.